Good morning. Welcome to lesson 15.6, the last lesson before we take a test on Friday. Tomorrow we're going to do some review. This lesson is going to be specifically on not really teaching you anything new, but giving you a little bit more challenge questions to practice what we've learned during this module. And it's all word problems, so make sure you guys are reading each problem if you're not understanding it a couple times. So let's look at this one. Step it out. On Monday, Sasha walked to school by the way of the library. After school, she walked with Benny to his home to study. How far did Sasha walk on Monday? Well, let's see. She walked on Monday. Sasha walked to school by way of the library. So she went from her house to school. And then after school, she walked with Benny to his home to study. While she was at school, she walked to Benny's house. So let's add those together. So I'm going to take my green in order to add her trip. So let's start with the green part. She walked en route from the library to school. That is 2 and 1 over 4 plus 1 and 1 over 4. And then I'm going to switch it to pink because from school, she went to Benny's home, which is plus 1 and 1 over 4. So the way we could do this is how we practiced in the yesterday, actually. So I can just take my whole numbers and move them down and then decide to add those together. So I could just add my whole numbers, make that its own equation, and then make my fractions its own equation. So I know if I have 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4, that equals 3/4. And if I have 1 whole plus 1 whole plus 2 wholes equals 4 wholes. And all I have to do is this. Take this, put it right here, and I have my fraction. It's really as simple as that. So then let's look at the next question. The next question is step it out 2. And it says, Cheyenne and her family ride bikes on trails in the state park. On Saturday, they ride on the lake trail and in the wildflower trail. On Sunday, they ride their bikes on the forest trail and the meadows trail. On which day do they ride the farthest? Okay, so I already know that my brain needs to organize this. So I know that I have Saturday, they ride on the lake trail and the wildflower trail. So Saturday is lake trail and wildflower trail. And then we have Sunday, they ride their bikes on the forest trail and the meadow trail. So forest and meadow. And now I need to figure out on which day they ride the farthest and then how much farther. Okay, so that's adding another problem to the equation, but let's focus on this right now. So I'm going to take my pink to figure out Saturday. And on Saturday, they go to Lake Trail, and Wildflower Lake Trail is 4 3/8 of a mile. And we're going to add that to the Wildflower Trail, which is 1 7/8 of a mile. And what I can do is I can add these together. I know that 4 holes and 1 hole equal 5. And then I can just add my fractions, which is, I know the denominator is going to say 8. 3 plus 7 is 10. I want you guys to notice that my numerator is larger, so I need to take away 8 over 8 because it's 1 whole. So what happens here, if I take 8 away from 10, I get 2 over 8. And then this whole gets added to the 5, and it becomes 6. So technically, this is the same as this. This is just not proper. Okay, so So what we have here is so I'm going to move this guy over here so I know I have my answer. And I'm going to put Saturday over here to save it. So now I need to look at Sunday. Sunday, the family rides their bikes on the forest trail, which is 3 5/8 of a mile, plus the meadow trail, which is 2 1/8 of a mile. So I could do the same thing, add my wholes, and then add my fractions, which becomes 6/8. So now I have to compare which one is larger. So let's remember this is Sunday. All right, so if we're comparing Saturday and Sunday, which is greater? Well, I already know Saturday is greater, but like by how much? So let's figure this out. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to take our answers and we're going to make it into a subtraction. So let's take our Saturday, which is our greatest day, 6/2/8, minus our Sunday, which is 5 6/8. Well, can we take 6 away from 2? No. So I need to make this number back to what it was. Remember what we did before? So I need to take away 1 whole to make this a 5. And that means I'm adding 10/10 to this guy. I'm so sorry. I'm adding 8/8 to this guy, which becomes what we had before, 5 and 10/8. So if I take 5 minus 5 equals 0, I have nothing. And then 10 minus 6 equals 4/8. And this is how much farther they went.